Hi, this is Craig Delger with a review of the Big Agnes Double-Z inflatable sleeping pad for ProLiteGear.com. This is the sleeping pad that has probably generated the most interest recently in our store, and that's because Backpacker Magazine gave it their Editor's Choice Award. There are a couple things I like about this pad, but there's a lot I don't like about this pad, and so I kind of question that Editor's Choice Award at Backpacker Magazine. Respectfully question it, of course. So let's talk about some of the things I like about the pad. Number one, it has a very nice valve. It's a two-part valve. You open up the first part and it's a one-way valve for inflating it. It makes it easy to inflate. Unscrew the second part and you can open it wide open to rapidly get all the air out of it, but also, and I'll put a video on how to properly store your inflatable sleeping pads, but this makes it so that you don't get any nasty stuff going on inside the pad, just because you can open that valve up nice and wide and get rid of all the air and moisture that's built up inside the pad. The sleeping pad does have kind of a unique baffle system in it, and I'll fully admit, when I'm on the pad, it is a fairly comfortable pad to sleep on. This baffle design makes it a far more stable pad and comfortable pad than like the X-Ped pad here, where the vertical baffles go all the way through and just results in a very unstable pad to try and sleep on. So it is a comfortable pad. Like I said earlier, my problem with this pad is I have a tough time staying on this pad when sleeping on it. That's somewhat mitigated if I'm in a very small shelter, because I'm right up against the sidewall, and so that kind of prevents me from falling off the side of the pad. But that raises its own problems, because if I'm in a small shelter, the height of this pad is starting to raise me off the floor enough that I'm starting to run into the sidewall of the shelter. So that's a definite downside of having a thick pad like this. Let's talk about what I don't like about this pad. It's 4 inches thick, and I think that's just too thick for a pad. There's diminishing returns, I feel, above 2.5 inches. Thickness doesn't equal warmth, and thickness doesn't equal comfort. There's more to it than that. This pad, although it's 4 inches thick, only has an R value of 1.5. R values range from 1.0 to 9.5. So an R value of 1.5 means this thing has very little, if any, thermal resistance. This is a single season pad only. At least that's the way we sell it in our store, and we tell people, we advise them anyway, don't use this pad if you think nighttime temperatures are going to drop below 50 degrees. You can maybe push that to the mid-40s, but you're going to start to get uncomfortable. I think for the weight at 17 ounces, there's far superior pads behind me that actually have some good usable thermal resistance that allow them to be 3-season pads. The 4 inches of thickness, some of our customers have reported that, well, some like it, but some have reported that because the pad is so thick, if they have an arm or something that drops off the side of the pad, there's a pretty good distance between the pad and the ground floor, and it's uncomfortable for them. So that was some customer feedback. I slept on this pad, and I had a really difficult time staying on top of it. The pad is slippery. It doesn't have a siliconized surface like the NeoAir X-Therm and NeoAir X-Lite that give the fabric a little bit of tackiness that allow you to stay on it a little bit more. But also, it uses these large exterior baffles that are meant to kind of cradle you in the pad. And when you're laying on the pad, they do work. My problem with this pad is that if it's a 20-inch wide pad, if I get off to the side at all, I start to collapse that outside baffle, because I have to deflate this thing a bit to get it to be comfortable for me, and then I just fall off the pad. I slept on this pad 2 nights. Both nights I woke up in the middle of the night and I was no longer on the pad. So a 4-inch pad has other negatives in our opinion. You can't use it in many of our bivy sacks that we sell simply because it's too thick. You also are going to run into problems by effectively reducing the floor space that you have in a shelter, because by raising your body off the floor, you're starting to get into the angled sidewalls of your shelter, thereby reducing the effective footprint or floor area in your shelter. So if you're just looking for a very inexpensive pad and are going to use it in very warm conditions, this is a great pad for you. I just think it's too limited in its usability because of the R value of 1.5. And I think at 4 inches thick, we're getting way past the point of diminishing returns. I mean, why not make it 6 inches thick or 8 inches thick? It just, that 4 inches of thickness doesn't do that much more for you in terms of comfort, and it didn't get you any additional R value. So for those reasons, we're not a huge fan of this pad, and we really try and make sure customers understand what they're buying when they buy it. I've put all the specifications for all of these pads that we're reviewing into an article. I'll post a link to it in the description below if you're watching this video over at ProLite Gear, so be sure to check that out. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for subscribing to our channel.